Peace and blessings to all of God's children. I have a story about heaven and hell that I like to run by. It's a parable, an actual parable, And it's about a man who, like many of us, during his, youth and being a young man, he had to learn some things, so he made a lot of mistakes. But, like most of us, as life goes on, we learn what is better for us and what's not. So he really got it going on in his last days, and he was just, doing such great things, Not, a lot of times we use the word good. Well, the word good and great is not the same thing. Great people don't do good things all the time. And the whole concept of good is explained in Scripture, where Christ told, said, look, none is good but God. But anyway, he got it together. So, as we all, none of us get out here alive. He passed away. And when he got to supposedly the gates, the gatekeeper was there. He said, hey, I got some good news and I got some bad news for you. He said, what? He said, well, early on there, you was kind of rough there. You got it together in the end, and that's commendable. But, this is like a minimum of punishment. You got to spend one night in hell. And after that night, you can come on up and join the rest of the saints. He said, oh, that's fine. I look to get away with nothing. So when he got to hell, he went into this room, this long table. Every type of food and delicacy, anything that, that you can consume that's healthy and good for you, all his, his personal favorite foods, he saw them. And when he looked around at the people, they were made sort of different, They had these real big stomachs. Their mouth was like a trumpet, it was like a tube going out, and it extended from their body, maybe 3 or 4 feet away from their body. And they had these little bitty shoulders and these little bitty arms, like little wings, little chicken wings up to, and the utensils on the table that you ate with were these long, like scoop spoon deals. And the whole thing was, you'll get this 3 to 4 foot ladle or spoon or dip or whatever you want to call it, and you try to get your food. Well, when you would finally get the food on the spoon, when you go to bring it to your mouth, it'll go right over your shoulder. So here it is, they got these big old stomachs. They got one mega appetite. All this food right here in front of them, and they're just steady, and the food just going in the flow, just wasting away, rotting and stinking. But, they trying to get something to eat. Next morning comes, goes up, gatekeeper asks, all right, young man, what do you think about that night in here? The guy said, oh man, it was terrible. They had these big old stomachs. They had all that good food right there in front of them. And they can't seem to get to it. They got to use these ladles, all that rotten, stinking food. Now he said, that's why we call it hell. Son, now, going up to heaven and join the saints. He get over there, he pushed the door open. It's the same scene. The only difference is, instead of them trying to feed themselves, they were feeding each other. So the difference in heaven and hell is connecting, or as we say in the Psalm, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to come together in unity. It's not a choice. It's a duty that we work with one another to edify the glory of the Most High God. Peace and blessings, I pray this day, this weekend, bless you, or something was used here to cause something to click. One love.